morning. Hello, everybody. Good morning, Dennis. Good morning, Margaret. Just take just a few more seconds, give people a couple more, get a few more people in here as always. It is chilly. I will say that before I get going. It is chilly. I'm in my basement where my office is, and man, is it chilly down here. Should have turned the heat on, but that's a little late for that now. But all right, I see some people. Hey, good morning, Dad. So yeah, welcome to Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium. Thanks for joining me on this Saturday morning, January 9th. Um, yeah, it's it's been an interesting week, and you guys know that I'm not gonna sit there and talk about certain things because it's just too negative to get into. So and I do ask that we're not gonna. I don't want anybody posting things in the chat about things because I again this the whole my whole goal and motto is always good morning, Sandy. My goal has always been to be positive, and I don't want to sit there and start or have any kind of conversations going on. Good morning, Donnie. And so, yeah, I want to make sure that we keep everything uplifted and as positive as we can be, because we need it more than ever, regardless. So, um, there is one thing I will kind of touch on because it seemed to be a little bit more last night, but I will get to that in a second. But this was I had holiday break, and guys, most of you know that I have a day job, and I got back to it this week, and so there's been that adjustment of being home really for the probably about 3.5 weeks in December. So most of December I was home, whether I was working from home or I was on vacation. So this week was quite a bit of an adjustment to get back into that whole regime again because all I am is I got to drive an hour and 10 minutes one way, and then work 8 hours, and then drive another hour and 10 home. So it makes for a long day. So um, getting to bed at a decent hour is rough, and uh, waking up, it's just been crazy, and some of those. Hey, good morning, Laura. And it's been rough a couple times, because I've been sitting around. I mean, I didn't. I wasn't active like I thought I would be. Not that I was trying, but I wasn't as active. I was mostly sitting around a little too much in December. So um, there was a lot of muscles and things. Good morning, Sharon. That we're definitely uh, feeling it this week. My legs, in particular, because I some of what I'm doing temporarily is I'm standing a lot, and to sit for almost a full month, and then to have to stand for 3-4 hours at a time, it makes it interesting. So, but and it right, Margaret, it does. It takes about a week to get back into swing of anything, really. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, it was quite interesting getting back into thing. Good morning, Rhonda. And that was the excitement for the most part for me, and getting home. you know it used to be able to, hey, good morning, Dana. And I'm so used to like getting back on, because like right now, and I think I told you guys last Saturday, I know I did. It's going to be rough for me to if there's messages during the day. I really have only small windows of answering them, or lunchtime I can get to some things, but I just can't do the responses like I used to, because even when my normal job, my normal routine, you got moments in between stuff. And this time I really don't, because there's a lot of higher ups, a lot of managers and things that are watching. So not closely, but they're in the room, so you really can't just sit there. I mean, they're okay, obviously you check something real quick, or you get a message, like a text message or something, but they just don't want you sitting there. And considering me and my other coworker from the same department are temporary in this one, it just you really want to make sure you're on your best p's and q's. You don't want to upset them, because you are helping them out. So yeah, I'm doing my best to try to not be on any electronics, as much, like I used to. And that's probably a good thing. I think we all bury ourselves in our phones and our computers, and the next thing a couple hours have gone by and you're like, where the heck did time go? So that's been another adjustment, is just not looking at my phone, or jumping on a computer. So, but I don't, I don't mind it, and it is probably good, and it's probably healthier for me to get away from it for a little bit. Obviously, we've been talking about this for months, and even years. Good morning, Janet. And things have been, crazy out there. There's been a lot of chaotic times, and so, um, you know, it's probably good not to see some of it, because there's just so much negative stuff, and it's horrible. But the one thing I wanted to touch base real quickly before we get into a couple little things, and by the way, remember, for all of you, if you have any other specific questions, on me, what I do, questions in the field, the paranormal, spirituality, mediumship, all that stuff, you guys just throw that in the chat room and we'll get to it. But I do want to, one thing I do want to touch on again, it's going to be very light. I'm not going to be, hammering something or even trying to spill off beliefs or anything like that. Um, I want to be careful because obviously there's a lot of things that have been going on, and I'm hoping that things don't continue to trickle and get to the point where they're affecting a lot of things. One of my pages is Facebook, and so I'm hoping that things don't get too you know cut. I guess that's probably a better way to say it. um, I'd hate to lose, because this has been a great platform for me. It's been able to me to reach out to people, and uh, I'd hate to lose something like this. If things continue to go, like I said, I don't know. I'm not going to predict something like that. That's definitely one thing I'm not going to do. But you know, I might have to come up with some alternatives, of where to be able to have these. It's a possibility I might have to do this in a podcast form where it won't be live, but it might be something you guys have to you know, uh, grab from somewhere and listen to this. And, I love the live interactions. I love seeing your guys' comments. Good morning, Tina. And I would hate that because I would miss it so much, to be able to see all you. And like I said, we want to start our days together. And I don't really want to go to a podcast, but, if it's something I might have to do because I can't do it like something live, I'll shoot that way, and I'll figure it out. uh, but like I said, I just kind of wanted to put it out there that, I'll try to continue to do what I do. I'm not going to bring up anything. I am Rhonda. I kind of reactivated it. I had it a long time ago, and then I forgot about it. And last day or two, I finally got it up and running again. So, but it's just my personal name, so I don't know if I can even create like a secondary account to where it would be, this stuff. So I'll have to look into it and research it, Um, sure, Laura, we can get to that. Um, oh, I know. Yeah, I know, Chris. I know. That's that's the whole point, is I'm trying, and you guys know. I mean, a lot of you that have watched this or seen this or heard me talk or, message, you guys know I don't talk about things. I just don't do it. My dad, who's watching, I mean, my dad and mom, were big on, when we grew up, you just you didn't talk about certain things. We're all allowed to have our opinions, and I have no problem with that. I'm just not going to sit there and talk about certain things because you can see what it's doing. So, and like I said, I'm not going to harp on this. Well, we're going to jump off this here in 1 second, but I just don't do it. You guys, none of you know, who I follow, who I believe in, you're not going to get it from me. You're not going to drive it out of me because I'm just not going to tell you. Even if I agree with you, I'm still not going to tell you, what my personal opinions are on that. They're mine. They stay in my home within my walls, and that's the where it's going to be. Because I just don't want to go down that road. All of you that are here right now, and all of you that are going to be watching back, you know, um, I care about you guys. I don't want to have a strained relationship just because we disagree on one thing. And so that's why I'll never bring it up. Even if I know your opinions and everything like that, I'm still not going to go down that path. It's just, that's the way it is. Hey, Heather. And yeah. And so again, you're never going to see it. You're never going to see it. This is about the the most you're going to get of an opinion on things that are going on is that it's going to be, but you're not going to hear me say this, that, and the other, and sides, and I'm just not going to do it. It's not worth my time. It's not. And, I'd rather continue to do what I do, and you guys know it. So, right, Jeff. Yeah. And that's what I'm hoping for, is that it just continues to, I'm not gonna, that's why I don't want to say anything. That's why I don't post anything that's gonna, put a flag over me. Cause I mean, you guys, most of you know me. You guys have hung out with me. Do I look like the person that's gonna cause any problems? I might have fun and joke around, but I ain't gonna create, chaos and things like that. So anyway, so we're gonna get off this because we want to have some fun. So now, Laura, before I touch that, I do want to hit one thing because I had a friend hit me up earlier in the week, and you guys might have seen this. Actually, shoot, let me grab it real quickly because I think you guys might get a kick out of this. And some of you saw it, some of you might not have. And I saw some people that were, that did repost it, and they were making comments about it, and some people were laughing about it and things. And it's interesting because I looked at it and I'm like, yeah, it's strange, but at the same time, it makes complete perfect sense. So let me find it real quick. I'm gonna pull it up. Here we go. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure because you guys will get a kick out of this. I love it. All right. And so hopefully you guys have seen this. All right. Give me a second. Let me share here. All righty. Share my screen. I just want this one. Nope. Yeah, this one. So tell me if you guys have seen this. All right. And I'll scroll here. Let me just move the window up a little bit. And sorry if you see all those advertisements and things, but see if you guys have seen this. Let me Sorry, I want to see if I'm going to keep watching. So I'm going to keep it kind of small. That's why it's not stretched any bigger. But let me know if you've seen this. Good morning, Jill. Well, thanks, Sandy. Uh, True, Margaret. But anyway, but like I said, I wanted to touch on this because I thought it was kind of fun, and I wanted to explain some things. Um, and I won't, scroll through the whole thing, but you guys just seeing from this. So, uh, like I said, I seen people comment here. I'll scroll a little bit. um, it's weird, right? I mean, it's different. I mean, who throws asparagus to make predictions? Um, but at the same time, it's not really that uncommon. Um, there is oh, you haven't seen that, Rhonda? um, yeah, it was up probably earlier this week, and I think it makes sense because we're into the very first week of January and stuff. But um, the it's really fascinating that I think some don't know it, that there is you know astrology readers, psychics and things, that they have done this for centuries, really. Um, the one that always comes to mind is, back a long time ago, people used to throw chicken bones, and the bones, the way they fell and what bones they were, created your predictions or your messages or your answers to, to your questions and things like that when you would go to said person. And so it's different to have a vegetable like asparagus to do this, but it works for her. Now, again, I'm not gonna scroll through it because it's not a long article, but to me, just reading it a little bit, you feel like, she hits on, things. She gets some things right and she gets some things wrong. Now, what's interesting is that when the people get so negative about when somebody, even me, you do a psychic prediction and you get it wrong, are you really wrong? And the reason I say this is that no, you're not wrong. It's the fact that when you do the prediction at that point in time, so if I was to say right now that everybody watching this live, not anybody watching this back, but everybody that's watching this live is going to win a brand new car. Now, just because I said that doesn't mean it's really going to happen. But what happened is that at that moment it was. Now, if some of you immediately start jumping on car sites trying to figure out, well, what car am I going to get, or you're going to start creating little bends. You're going to start making creating obstacles in that path for that to happen. And by doing that, you now have changed the way the prediction's going to let come, come to fruition. So you have to, if you go to a psychic and they give you a prediction, you got to be careful on what you do. I've done predictions, I've given them, and I've had them come back and they've been a little upset because something happened. I'm like, well, what did you do? And they said, well, I started doing this. Okay, well, you changed the path to getting to that point. So, and I don't want to take, the whole time to really dive deep in it, but predicting can be quite almost close to 100%. But again, there's so little things that you can do that can change it. uh, like anything, you guys, I mean, and we all have goals, we all have dreams, and even for yourselves, it's like, well, you know what, I'm gonna get a new job this year. That is my goal. And so you start off and then you start getting a little frustrated, so you start backing away. Well, okay, you've now already started to veer off the path. You got to stay focused on everything. And we talk about intentions, we got, there's all these things that have to keep continue to happen as you still keep lining things up. So you can't throw changes, or you can't uh jump off. If you really want that job, you got to keep fighting for it. But if you start to slack, or you start to, like, not throw the inner, if you you know have an opportunity to throw your application in, and resume in, and you keep not doing it, well, you're not giving yourself that you're not lining it up so that way that can happen. You've got to stick to it and don't veer off, or it'll change. Now, some of that's quite obvious because it doesn't take much to veer. We all do it, but at the same time, just because she's using asparagus to do her things doesn't mean, or the whole thing of whatever somebody uses, whatever works for them. If they say this is going to happen, okay, well, you're just going to have to just keep going along with the flow until it happens. Now, it could be today, it could be next week, it could be next year, it could be 5 years from now. But you got to be careful on that path. You can't force something to happen. Everything has to happen once everything's in line. And I think people forget that, and that's why maybe some would be like, oh, well, you got it wrong, or she got it wrong, or they got it wrong and stuff. Well, there's a lot of things that happened between the time that it was presented in saying this is going to happen, and then it changed, you know and then the outlook or the outcome changed. So, I got a hair in my mouth. Sorry. But so, just to make sure, don't if you get a prediction, don't try to force things. Continue with the path, do what you're doing, because if you make something change of any level, even if it's small, it's then going to maybe extend a little bit longer. Or if you do something drastic to try to force it to happen sooner, you might get derailed completely and it won't happen at all. So be careful. And if somebody wants to use weird objects to get that end result, then it is what it is, right? So, but I thought it was kind of fun. I wanted to touch on it a little bit because, again, we could really get into it, and maybe some other point, or um, maybe even a class. I mean, that's some things that have been on my mind. If maybe I should have some classes or something like that to kind of stay busy. But so I'm going to throw that out. But yeah, so it's kind of weird, but I thought that was kind of fun to show you guys that. And um, because again, I saw a lot of people saying, funny things, or you can't do that. Like, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. I mean, you guys all know Tim Shaw, he's a big a Ouija board, fan. And, you know, it doesn't take much for you to just write all the letters on a piece of paper and just anything. You can use anything to use as your planchette, and you've got a talking board. So, whatever works for you. If you want to do it yourself and a DIY, thing, or uh, whatever, if it works, it works, and I think that's kind of neat. One more thing, and so hopefully Laura's still around. I got a couple things to kind of a show and tell. Um, some of you probably seen this possibly, floating through the advertising and stuff on Facebook. So it was an impulse buy for me, but I just couldn't help it. And so I had to get it. And I literally just took the cellophane off. Okay, cool, Laura, just hang tight. Um, I just took the cellophane off right before the show started. So let me get okay. So let me see if you guys have seen this. So I don't know. I got a new tarot deck, and obviously, maybe you guys have seen this on Facebook or not. Um, but I got this is one that the cards are have a like a holographic. You can see kind of doing a mirror action, but you can see how it's all yeah. Isn't that cool? Um, it was an impulse buy. I love the look of it. They're a lot smaller to me. I mean, you guys can see my hand. They're a little bit more. They're tall. They're lengthwise is not bad, but widthwise they're a little bit narrow. So they're not as big as what I'm some of my other decks that I have. But I just couldn't help. I mean, how cool it is. What I've noticed that the backside still has a um, more paper feel to it. So might be able to hear it. I don't know if you hear it or not, but you can tell it's a paperback. But what they did was they laminated the graphic with obviously that kind of rainbow holographic kind of feel to it. So it's more slick and shiny. I can see that it was something they stuck over it. So obviously the card is the card, but then they put that kind of shimmer over it. So um, it is pretty neat. It's different, but I definitely want to get into it and see what they look like. Cool. All right, Jennifer. Yeah, and Margaret, it's a good point. Some people, when the cards get larger and bigger and things, they're harder to shuffle. I mean, you know, obviously you can see how thick the deck is, you know, so it's got some size to it when you're shuffling a full deck. But at least from a widthwise size, they're easy to hold. You're not feeling like you're kind of grabbing a little bit further out. Um, so far, I mean, like I said, I just opened them up today, so I was holding off. I wanted to do that live with you guys, um, but I gotta warm them up. I gotta test them out a little bit, and I'll let you know how they go. So, but yeah, it's by A.E. Waite. I don't know if you can see that at the bottom. So if you guys are interested, um, I, I guess I should have prepared for it because I forgot where I got it from because I got it from another online store, obviously, but um, I don't remember. But I have one more show and tell, and then Laura, we're going to hit on that. This one is still sealed. I have not even unwrapped it yet. Um, this one caught my eye. Hey, good morning, Phil. I caught this, and I fell in love with it because I loved the title of it. I liked what it was already doing, so I had good vibes from it. It was another sort of an impulse buy, but again, I just love the title of this, and I haven't, like I said, the plastic is still on. So this is what I got. And sorry if you guys see my reflection over there. Try to move it out of the way. Let you guys read that for a second. Sorry for the reflection. With the cellophane still on, that's why you guys are actually seeing some of you guys. But karma cards. Um I and I guess you're not going to see it up to oh, I can get it kind of close. You can kind of see what sorry. Trying to hold it still just to give you an idea real quick. But um yeah, I did well I like the idea of the karma, I mean, obviously, we don't want bad karma. We want good karma. So when I can crack this open because like I said, it's still all wrapped up. I want to dive into it because this is something I think it might be fun. But um, yeah, to learn to answer the questions about your karma on spiritual, mental, or physical levels, simply shuffle the deck, deal, and interpret the three cards, one each for the planet, sign, and house groups. Your message is written right on the card so you can access your answer instantly. It's fun to do, yet deep levels of personal insight are revealed. So I can't wait to crack this open. So this might be another future live show at some point. We'll just bring out the karma cards and we'll see what we can do. So another one I got to warm up and test a little bit, and I think we'll have some fun with that one. Um, and even then, there's still some other things I want to do. Oh, cool. All right, Rhonda. That would be cool. When you do open them, I'd like to see some photos. I'm sure you'll post it on your page. So, but um, yeah. So I still have in the works. I knew this first week back was going to be a little rough for me. I knew, trying to get into the swing of things, getting back into work, and I was tired and sore, like I already talked about in the beginning. So I knew I wasn't going to do anything other than just this show this week, and even not post so much, which I didn't do. Like I said. But I want to get into that. Like I said, I want to do rune castings live. I've been trying to do that for years, and I want to get that set at some point, whether it's during the week or on a weekend. I don't know yet. Like I said, now that this week is over with, I can start really kind of laying down and planning things out, and that'll be kind of fun. So I want to do that for a show. We'll do the karma cards once I get those warmed up and running. Um, well, I'll have to do a live reading show. We'll have to do that again. So lots of things are at least on the table. It's just all about finding the good times and throwing them in there so that way we can do that, and we'll get that rolling this year because we're all due. I'm even due. But what's cool is I did a quick little reading, and obviously I can't talk about certain things, but it's somebody that I never did it as a client thing. It was sort of a kind of a just sort of a little bit of an assistance of just from confirming things. Sorry, I don't know why I'm stuttering there. And it worked out really well in the past, and I haven't spoken to this person in a long time. And hold on, Margaret. And so what happened is I haven't spoken to this particular spirit in a couple of years, so it's been a while. But you know, I'm okay with that. And the clients, which there's several of them, because it was a family member uh, that passed, that I would with little quick, little messages, quick readings, and things like that. But um, I that particular spirit was coming through a lot recently, and so they were just kind of confirming that it was that said spirit. And I did that yesterday, so it actually felt really good to do a reading. Even it was short, but it was fun. For me, I really was excited, and I really was. It just was like, oh my gosh, I didn't really do much at all in December because it was just so chaotic with Christmas and getting all that, and then the work and so, I always try to be in the best mental shape as I can be when I do a live reading, whatever type of reading I'm doing. And if I just feel off, I don't want to. Personally, I just don't want to give something to you guys that's just kind of half asked. I just don't want to. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm doing the best I can. I mean, if I can be over 90 some percent, 95%, then I feel okay. But if I start getting a little bit lower, I just get nervous that I'm, not doing the best that I can for that message or whatever the whatever I'm doing at that point in time. Uh, so we'll, you know, it's all good. Margaret, real quick, and then I got to get to Laura. Um, no, Beyond the Science isn't on hold. This week, Debbie was completely busy with the new house. She had inspections. So if you guys are watching now or playing this back, I do a show with my friend Debbie on Wednesday nights at 7. Beyond the Silence Radio is the page and show. And this week, not only was she completely busy, I woke up Wednesday morning in all kinds of major pain because of the being, sitting around like I talked about earlier. My legs were killing me, and I woke up at 1:30, technically Wednesday morning, I should say it, because it was already past midnight. I woke up at 1:30 in the morning, and I never went back to sleep until 9:30, 10 o'clock that Wednesday night. So I was hurting. Like I was hurting mentally, I was hurting physically. I just was a mess. So it actually worked out that not only was she still quite busy with the, trying to get this new house thing worked out, I was then in a horrible physical and mental state. So that was the reason why Wednesday's show didn't work out. We should be good to go for next week. I will check in with Debbie this weekend. We always are talking almost daily. So I'll see how she's doing, and we'll try to get Wednesday back up and running again. So nothing wrong with the show. We fortunately we've always moved the show around because we thought it was working to our favor. And then it's funny is like wherever we move the show, something happens to where we we still have things come up and hit us to where it's like we move it to get away from issues, but apparently we still find them out where we got things going on in our personal life, so we just got to attend to, or we're not feeling well. But that's par for the course. So that's good. Laura, you're still there. Ask me. I know it's about the snow walking. What is your specific questions about snow walking? Um, I is it I mean, a lot of people do. And if new people, if you haven't seen it, I did post it probably a few weeks ago. I do a thing I call snow walking. So it's walking barefoot in the snow. And it's tough to explain in a short amount of time. It is, and you guys, some of you have probably heard this all before many times. But for those that haven't, it is a big uh mental challenge more than it is physically. It can get physical, and that's why when okay, well, that's a good one though. I like that, Laura. I'm going to put that up on the screen. And it's a well, you know what? Stop that. We're going to back up. We're going to go with I like Laura's thing real quickly. So, and Heather's got a great one. Heather, that's perfect because I'll tag in both of you, Laura and Heather, right there. So, what is the purpose of doing the snow walk? So, when I took classes years ago, and most of you know that. One particular class was a week long, and it was near Asheville, Virginia, West Virginia. I think that's right. Yeah, North Carolina. I forget where Asheville is now. Anyway, it was close to there, and spent a lot of time. One of the particular exercises one day was about controlling, when it comes to extreme measures like temperature. And we just happened to be there was a river that was on the land we were on. I mean, a big flowing river. So it was coming down from the mountains, from the Appalachian Mountains. And so it wasn't, like it's one thing to jump in it, it's kind of chilly and stuff and jump out. But we were going to be in the like literally be in the water for hours on end. And obviously, we're all have different body types and stuff. And so, you know, some of us like cold water, some of us like hot water, but this was some pretty cold water, even for August and late August, very late August. And it was unpleasant. And I don't mind a little bit, but I was not a big fan of really cold water other than drinking it. But we learned how to mentally go through it. And I remember sitting in this cold river, shivering. I mean, shaking, shaking. And I remember one of the instructors coming up and he just pulled me aside and he started talking to me. And he says, just talk to it, And so I started talking to the cold, as weird as that is. I started talking to it. And the more I talked to it, the more there was an understanding. And within about a couple minutes, I stopped shaking. And I was like, how the heck was it that easy just to talk to it? But years later, it was November, and this several years later, um, I spirit guides, hit me one time. It was in the evening and said, "Hey, this, it snowed outside. You need to go out there and walk out there barefoot." And I'm like, well, that's insane. Why would I do that? But I was also at a point where I knew the more I ignored my guides when they gave me a message, you know, things weren't always as great and stuff. But when I started listening to things started changing and becoming more positive. So I said, you know what? They've never been wrong. They never made me do something that I didn't, that ended up being a bad thing. So I said, sure, I'm going to go out there. So sure enough, I tell my wife and my daughter, and they're just like, you're insane. Like most of you have said to me. So I trusted it, and and instantly they brought me back to that river as I was taking my first steps out on my back deck. And sure enough, I started talking to it right away and said, I know it's cold, but it's not like I'm going to be out here all day or all night at that point. So I started walking around, and yeah, it's a little cold, I can't lie, but at the same time, it wasn't like anything different than, standing like on a cold linoleum floor. You know what I mean? It's just like, oh, it's cold, but woo, but it wasn't horrible. And so I just stood there and minute or two, and when I came back in, I was just like, I immediately was like, oh my gosh, my feet felt different. They weren't in pain, because obviously cold, and it wasn't, and so I just continued to, like, minutes and then a couple hours, and I'm just every little minute that passed, I kept feeling more and more energy. I kept feeling unbelievable, uh, euphoria, like, and eventually I was like, I got into bed, probably about 3 or 4 hours later, and I still had this buzz, like, I mean, I was, like, buzzing in the sense of, like, drinking several cups of coffee or several things of like an energy drink, excuse me. And I just had this kind of um alive awakening feeling. And I was sitting there just like, oh my gosh, this is, I mean, and I was happy. I was so uplifted and just you couldn't wipe the smile off my face because of how amazing it felt. And it just kept buzzing through me. It was just this feeling, this electricity and stuff going through my feet all the way through my body. And it was so cool. And I'm like, and this is why you listen to your guides. If they give you a message, or, and if you're religious, you have angels that, will give you messages. You listen to them, they're never wrong to you. And it was so cool. And so to finally start sharing that with everybody and then, posting them every year since then, I do that on Facebook to show you guys I can do that. And uh every single time I do it, it's just that feeling. Now, I when I first did it, I didn't understand why it totally worked until a few more years later than that, after doing it so many times, that I realized there was a whole thing about grounding. And I've talked about that. I even had a YouTube video I talked about grounding. And it is a connection. It is something that we're supposed to be doing. When you're living in shoes or you're living in your house, you're not technically grounded because you're not having that connection with the earth. Um, all our ancestors grew up that way, and uh, we were so used to having our bare feet on the ground all the time, and it's this kind of cycle that goes on. Having a rough day, well, the earth is loaded with positive energy, so it'll fill you up. It'll generate you, pull out some of that negativity and get it out of you and get you pumped up and feeling good again. And so you guys can look it up. I mean, you guys got time. Look up a thing called grounding, health benefits from grounding. Look it up. You guys are going to see tons of stuff. And even in the winter, even in the snow, it still does it for you, because even then the snow came from the sky. And so you have all this cycling effect going on, how nature works. How it revolves and all these things that happen. It's still the circle that we go through, and it just was amazing to do it, and that's why I talk about it. um I'm okay with telling people to give it a shot. Most people go out there, they kind of run real quickly and they run back in. um you know it would be great to truly hold a class to do that, to where we can all sit there and do it together, because it does help when you have other people around you. I've done it enough to where if you were struggling, I can sit there and be next to you and talk you through it, because sometimes it's just that other voice that helps you. That obviously first step is just like anything. Taking that first step into unknown of, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. You've kind of built up a little bit of a wall, and so then to let go of that and realize that, yeah, it's cold, but it's not going to be forever. And you just go out there and do it. And of course, the more you do it, the more you start to realize it's not as bad as, you know so there's some practice to it in some way, but it also takes an extreme moment to overcome that. And again, we're so fearful of a lot of things, and taking that step, that we don't let go enough. And when you let go, you don't realize the benefits that are on the other side of that. So um let me make sure. See, and then obviously, Heather, I answered that. There is a rush. Laura, when it comes to like a prayer or anything, like I said, uh it is for me. It is sort of that feeling. Like I said, I talk to it quickly. It's so easy now that I don't even. It's so fast. It's just like we're good. You know, we know we've done this a bunch of times. So for me, it's so quick to talk to the cold and just be like, hey, we're together on this. We're gonna be one. You know, let's just do this. Let me. We're gonna walk around. We're gonna feel good about it. We're gonna exchange some energies, and then I'll get out of your way, so to speak, in a way. Not I don't want to say that, but I just say, hey, we're gonna get through this. We know what this does for both of us, and so all right, Sharon, we'll see you. Have a great day. And so that's kind of one of those things that's why it's I talk to the cold because that's what you're doing. You're addressing it and realizing that you're both in this together, and um, it's not going to harm you um, to the point. Yes, I mean if you're going to put that wall up, yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to harm you. It's going to you start getting into frostbite territory and things. Yeah, yeah. Well, if you continue all that wall stuff, and again, this isn't. I'm not bringing up anything that hasn't been known. There's so many people that do this even before I did it, and that's the cool thing about it. I'm not. I think I've just grounding has always been around, but I think I've tried to kind of highlight it a little bit more to show what we're all capable of doing. You don't have to be a medium. You don't have to do all this, weird things that I do, or what most of us do. But it's just that whole thing. We anybody can do it. It's just using your mind. It's just like, I'm going to be determined to get that job, or I'm going to be determined to, do this, and you just strive for it, you go for it, and then you'll see the results of it. Let's see. Heather, I have a doctor. Let's see, I'll put that up real quick. I have a doctor who does cold shower therapy. Yeah. The cold shower, and that's something that even I've seen come up from the military. Uh the if you guys and you probably have seen this even in sports, um, after workouts, after a games, you'll notice that some people jump in a big tub of ice water. And one thing that, yeah, that's some serious stuff to dunk yourself, or polar, doing the polar, oh my God, what do they call it? Polar, what is it when they jump in the river? Polar, whatever it was, polar dives or whatever it is. You're jumping in the river but they jump right back out. If you have muscles, that are sore, like, if I would have had I could have done a cold bath on my leg and it would have helped. But the cold helps repair things because you're exciting all the polar plunge. Thank you, Heather. Polar bears, right? um, the uh, the excitement of the your blood and every all the things that are in us that make us tick start to do things that are um good for us. So they do say that when you take showers, that by the time you're ready to get out, it's a good idea to bump it down to a colder level and get yourself a little cold before you before you turn it off. I actually used to do that as a kid. I used to thought that was weird because I'm like, oh, I want to, get cold, like that. And I stopped doing it when I got older, but it, uh, right, Dad. And so it's been a thing that I would now see, like if I had the opportunity to jump in some water, I'd go down there if I had nothing was going on. I didn't have plans. I'd do it. I'd jump in. I'd probably sit there for a little bit because knowing me, it's cool. So, but that's awesome, Heather. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, it there's so many cool things, and I think they've people have seen that where you can get into those kind of like they up to your neck where those ice chamber things, and it gets you down to like some minus thing. You're in there for like a couple minutes or something like that. I've been wanting to do that. I don't know if they have them here, but I've seen people do it. I don't know, some cool thing where you get into this thing and you're just, I think you just have, footwear, gloves, and like, obviously covering your bits, but you keep the rest of your skin open and stuff. But yeah, I've seen that and I'd love to do that too. Polar plunge. Yeah. That's awesome, Jill. Good for you. All right, Heather, you have a great day. And let's see, did I miss anybody? Oh, what did Jeff say? You said the earth is full of positive energy. Does it shift at times or always positive? Great question, Jeff. One second. As far as I guess you have to look at it in there's probably a couple ways to look at it. Obviously, you know, the earth, the core is always it's a fireball down there. We all know that. It's this, uh fiery lava thing going on, and it's always, I'm trying to remember the best way to put this because it's I've never really answered it. I just know it. Weird. But um I think because of the more time you do things like I've talked about grounding, and I do more shamanic things. So you use in nature, everything because it of that energy that the core is producing, it's always fueling everything that it touches. It I don't know if you could ever make it, turn it around into something negative other than when it dies. We all know the planet will at some point die out. Hopefully millions and billions and trillions of years from now. But it'll get to the point where it just doesn't do it anymore. Now, I'm not a science person, so I couldn't tell you why why it will die out. But I mean, it's like anything, everything eventually does, and so whether it's just run its course, whether it's other things are affecting it. Obviously, we revolve around a sun. Does that sun help fuel the energy for the core? Again, I don't know. I never really looked into it deep, but it is always producing that positive energy. Sure, you can see places around the world and there's volcanoes all over the world. I think we always look at that as a bad thing, um, because it does do destruction. But at the same time, when we have eruptions, it's building up land. It's expanding land. So I don't really see that as a bad thing, but at the same time, that's why we should stay away from those things because they're not a good idea to be around because yeah, it's going to cause some problems. So I would you know, it's fun to admire it from afar and that sort of thing, but um I wouldn't, I think, like I said, I don't think that is more of a negative thing. I think it is a positive thing because it's just what it's supposed to do. It has to, leak. I think because it is, churning and doing all its things down there that it has to obviously let off some gas at some point. And maybe that's what's going to happen is that it's just going to finally leak all out before it, when it's time to run out and there's nothing more to do. So, you know, it's a great question. And um I think we as a people have to tap into it more. So I think when times like this, when things are negative, we need to sit down and we need to, like I said, my big thing is getting outside and you know, giving thanks and saying my prayers and things while I'm out in nature, even right now in the winter. You go out there, you be amongst the elements and accept that energy and your thanks and gratitude, and it just kind of keeps that flow. So uh, I think it's always there as long as you're willing to go after it. I see what you're saying, Jeff. Yeah, I mean, it is. There's so much that because we are disconnected. I mean, we're we're what are you guys doing when you guys, stop watching the show? Are you guys jumping on your phones? Are you just going to stay on your phones? Are you on your computers? Are you going to go out and are you going to just go sit and watch TV, read a book, um, watch a video? Are you doing anything that's going to involve nature? Are you doing anything that you can feel that energy and be open for it? No, because we keep disconnecting it, we keep blocking it. So we're not doing the best we can when it comes to that. Hey, good morning, Jody. We're not taking that time to go out there even in the winter. And it's troubling. I know I have felt better. I think you guys have seen it other than being tired and exhausted, but I have felt better, the more I've really made it a mission since being home majority of last year to go outside once a day, regardless of what the weather was doing, and tap into the earth, tap into the nature, and again say the gratitude and things. And I do, I'm doing better. Yeah, I mean, I've had rough days, but that's just other reasons and other factors. But oh well, thank you, Nancy. And so you got to get yourself into that routine of doing it. And I think if we all could tap into that. But see, even then, you know, talk to somebody that's upset right now and tell them, well, if you just go outside and take a few, deep breaths, is going to help them feel better. I doubt it because one, they're so focused, they're not realizing that, yeah, we all get angry, but we're also not um, stopping for a moment and being like, okay, I get that I'm upset, but is that helping anything by being upset? You know what I mean? Right, Jill. Yep. That's awesome, Jill. Yeah, I can see my basement window. I got a sun, over there, much like this one. It's kind of peering through the window. So yes, we started getting a little bit of sun yesterday, so it was great to see. But keep in mind, don't always don't always assume that it doesn't exist. We know it does, but don't assume that it doesn't exist just because you can't see the sun. Don't still, you know, be upset or feel horrible or sad that, if the sun was out, I'd feel so much better. We again don't put up barriers and things just because. You guys know my stance on rain. Everybody hates rain. Everybody's so against it, but I'm like, I love it. It does so many great things for us. And I'm not talking just watering the plants. It's cleansing things. It's cleansing us when you're in it. But we put such a negative spin on it. Here it is. Now we're creating negativity out of us, So you have to look at things differently. And you can't put negative spins on it. Just because it's been cloudy doesn't mean that everything has to be horrible and negative and stuff. No, you created that yourself. It's not what's going on. It's just this is nature. You have to work with it. You can't beat nature. You can only work with it, and nature's going to win every time if you're going to fight it, period. I think anybody that's, lived in zones where tornadoes, hurricanes, and earthquakes and volcanoes, it wins every time. So, um, but right, don't get me wrong. We do need the sun. We do need it to help us out. It does give us vitamin D, if I'm not mistaken. And when it does pop out, take advantage of it, of course. And that's why you gotta. That's why it's important for us to get out there, even for a few minutes. So, if it's sunny, get outside for a couple minutes. You know, if you got to put some layers on, great, that's fine. But go out there, just have the sun hit you in the face for a few minutes. A few minutes ain't gonna kill you. It's gonna do good for you. So, um, but yeah, it's awesome, but we gotta do that. We gotta be tapping into those things a little bit more. And if you're having a rough moment, a rough day, or something's bothering you, get yourselves outside. You know what I mean? Get away from the situation, put the phone down or turn the TV off, go outside, take a couple deep breaths, let go of that, push all that stuff that you were feeling, that anger and things, get it out of you, push it out into the ground. Just even create a picture or an image of it and watch yourself pushing it down, with like your third eye. You know what I mean? Just like pretend you see something weird and just shove it into the ground, get it away from you, and just, and continue to take a few deep breaths, maybe close your eyes, whatever might help you feel a little bit better. But you can't, we got to stop being angry about everything. There's a time and a place for some things, yes, but if you're just looking at stuff and it's upsetting you, you know, I mean, I hear it, I see things, and it starts to get me upset, and then I turn it off and I get away from it because it's just not good for you. Even if it's something you believe in, and so, don't let it be in there. Don't let it sit on you because it's just gonna drag you down. It's gonna make the rest of your day kind of sour. And that's the reason why I try to continue to do positivity. I had Dustin Perry on in December, and he does a great job of trying to keep people motivated and share good things. And that's something I've been wanting to do for years too. Just you know that stuff's always going to be there, but if you're going to sit there and dwell in it, then it's always going to be on your mind. You can't do better for yourself if you're constantly under that umbrella of being negative and or being exposed to it all the time. You gotta turn it off. You gotta do things. You gotta get outside. I can't say it enough. And um, you gotta try to change it. And I think if we can slowly, one by one, we all can take those moments and tell somebody, maybe they're having a rough day, and it doesn't have to be anything like in the news. It could be just other things going on, struggles. I mean, I had some rough news, yesterday that had nothing to do with current news. It was just some stuff on the back end, me personally, that I'm just like, ah, man, I know it's going to be a pain in the butt to get this kind of fixed and rectified, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I got to do it, because if not, it's going to get worse. So I have some things, personally, that I got to do. Um, and it'll get fixed, and it'll be good. But even getting all that information yesterday, I was just like, you know, I still took it with stride. I'm just like, okay, it sucks. I hate that it happened, but I gotta do something. It wasn't my fault. It was somebody else's mistake. And so, I gotta work with them and get the mistake corrected. And, it'll happen. It's just, it is a headache, but again, I'm not letting it sit on me to where it's going to pull me down and ruin my day or ruin, my week or things like that. So keep that in mind for all of you. You can't dwell in it, because it just is so much weight. Why would you want all that weight on your shoulders? I mean, I don't. I mean, I know it happens, and it happens to all of us. I'm not saying it's not going to, but there you can curve a lot of that away from you, so that way it isn't something that's going to be on your shoulders every day or that day. We can get it off. We can get it off our shoulders, off our backs, whatever you want to refer to it as, and just do our thing. So um, I do, yeah, because we're a couple minutes left, so one more sip. I do want to make sure that I talked about it last week. I was going to talk about it in the beginning, but obviously there were some things that I really wanted to share and mention. Um, don't forget, I am affiliate with the Bones Coffee Company, and again, I'm not sponsored. I'm just an affiliate. So if you guys are interested in coffee, they have various types of flavors. Whether you're an old school, pour the grounds and do a drip, or you're into K cups, they have, like I said, many things. I know they have some sales going on right now. I'm going to put into the chat room my affiliate link. So if you guys are interested, could certainly click on that, and that will um, get you some. Uh, it doesn't give you a discount. I don't have that because um, I have to build up some credit. I have to have some people. I have to have more people buying things. you know, I think before I can get some discounts. So it's just something to start off. But I get points. Obviously, because being affiliate, I get some literally points, and then once I get points, um, then that helps me out. And I think, the more points I have, then they see that as it's working out. So if you're interested, you guys can take a look at that. Like I said, they have all kinds. They have seasonal coffees. I talked about some of them last week. Uh, I'm actually drinking a Christmas one right now, uh, which is great. Again, there's so many different things, but yeah, and I know a lot of it's expensive. Some of it's expensive. Like I said, I try to watch for sales to try to jump on things. Or like you get one box and you kind of like your special treat for the month. So maybe you don't drink it every day, but maybe on weekends, maybe right here on this show. So um, so hopefully that link will help you guys out, and if you're interested, and take a look and dive through there and stuff. So um, other than that, we're going to continue. I'm going to continue to do this. Uh, I will be back again next Saturday. So that should be cool. If there is any possible, like if you guys don't, obviously don't, some of you don't want to write in the chat room, but if you want to hit me up privately, if there's like maybe a certain topic that you want me to touch or answer your questions on, you can hit me up privately, or you can still put it in here afterwards. I will put it on the docket to mention, and we can do that. So yeah, always keep bringing your questions, and I'd love to do that. Again, we want to start our days together, um, and start it off on the right foot. We're going to take that right step, and keep moving forward, keep being positive and uplifting, share some smiles, maybe a few laughs on some of my corny jokes, and uh, it's just the way to go. um, it's the only way I want to go. I think we can all appreciate that. And um, So hopefully you guys agree. So, with that said, it is 10:30, so I want you guys to go on with the rest of your day. Like we said, the sun's out. Get yourself out there. Hey, Rodney, if the sun's out, get out there. Take a couple deep breaths and feel that sun on your face, and give thanks for it. And yeah, you guys have a great rest of your weekend. Well, I thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. I try. I mean, I really do. I'm not the greatest, but I'm certainly going to give it my best a effort as best I can. I'm going to try. Um, I do have my down days, but like we all do. But I certainly try to bring it and try to help everybody out, even if it's just one of you that can agree to it. So, so yeah. So again, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy next week. You guys do, Rhonda. You too. Thanks, Rodney. Yeah, you guys are awesome. I appreciate the love and support. I'm glad we all can just start our days like this, and I feel great. Oh, no worries, Sean. You can always play it back, buddy. That's what's great about it. You can always play this back. So and always remember, not only is it still on Facebook, I am on YouTube, so you guys can always go there. Um, uh, because I do post to both. So if you guys haven't, that's always a great another place if you need to check it out and watch these back. Other than that, yes, thank you, Margaret. um, you guys are awesome. I love it. And so take care. Relax. You know, forget about a lot of things if you can, and let's get next week rolling, and we'll be back next Saturday with some more fun, and let's enjoy it. So again, thank you so much for supporting me and hanging out. You guys have been watching Mid Morning Medium Chat with Adam the Black Swamp Medium, and I will see you all again next week. Good night or good day.